Once upon a time, there was an art teacher. Okay, let's begin with the story. So in this story, there was an art teacher and she had around 50 students in her class. One day, she decided that let me divide these students into a group of two, Group A and Group B. In Group A, she kept around 25 students, and in Group B, she kept 25 students. This is the task that she gave each of the students. Group A was supposed to create the perfect pot. Okay, just one perfect pot. And Group B was supposed to create as many pots as possible. However, the day when the both groups came up with the results, it was noticed that the Group B, where there were many students and they were supposed to create a lot of pots instead of one, they ended up creating the perfect pot than the Group A, who was supposed to create that supposedly perfect pot. Now, what do you learn from this? Let's hear. And by the time you type in your own answers and your perspectives, the idea is you are not going to get to that space of perfection until you fail 1,000 times. But this need to be a perfectionist at every single moment is what is keeping you from being the perfect version of yourselves. And with this, allow me to share my screen. Right? So Group A was supposed to create one and Group B as many as possible. And since they created as many pots as they could, they ended up understanding what is the best or what the mistakes that they are committing, what else they can do better next time with the next pot. This is what we all need to aim at instead of enforcing and forcing ourselves to be perfect. Right? With this, let us begin with this one statement that is famous in many of the groups out there, and you would have heard it. I'm whole, complete, and perfect. This perfect that this affirmation is talking about is not the idea that a perfectionist carry. It means that right now in this moment, whatever mistakes, experiences that I've had so far are the idea of being a perfect. Okay? However, if you are a perfectionist, if you're functioning from the mindset of a perfectionist, you will never allow yourself to be a whole, complete, and perfect in the moment. The idea is the next time, right now you're whole, complete, and perfect, whatever it is that you're doing. How is it that you can be whole, complete, and perfect in a better way in the next moment? This is what we all need to aim at. And it entails the possibility of failing, which is a very hard task for a perfectionist. This is where I would like to introduce the idea or the reasons why one feels that they are a perfectionist. And this could be with anyone. The first thing that every person will say, whoever is a perfectionist, is that I have high expectations from myself. My dear, why do you feel you have this high expectation? What is leading you to form an image of yourself where you need to be perfect? There are reasons underneath that. These are your actual reasons that you need to work on. So you can go ahead and you can mention some of your reasons where you feel that, these could be some of the list of reasons why I am in this space. You can write it down for yourself. And I'll suggest, as we move ahead with the with the slides, with the reasons. You can note those reasons down for yourself. You can take 2 minutes, grab a copy and a pen and a pencil, whatever it is, and let yourself note down what are some of your reasons. Check. You can write a yes or a no or a maybe, and your reasons, give your reasons why you feel this reason resonates more with you and could be why you are in this space. Okay, so moving forward, I hope you all can hear me. Okay, so the first reason is fear of failure. Most of the people who carry the idea of being perfect are guided by this fear of failure. They don't wish to fail because it will lead on to a lot of punishments for them. And the more you fear failing, the more you will not engage in activities that will actually make you perfect over a period of time. You can correlate it with the story of the pot. You create one pot, perfect pot, and wait for it to be perfect, or you keep on making the mistakes until you reach a point where you are doing it perfectly, because now you are a master at it. Any top athletes who are out there, they did not become perfect at a single go. They became perfect as they moved along the journey, as they practiced, as they made a lot of mistakes. They understood why this mistake need not be done, how it is that they can prove on these mistakes. That is how they broke the barrier of failing. So if you are someone who is afraid of failure, it's possible you could be getting this fear from a past. You could be carrying a lot of evidences from your childhood where you have failed and people have judged you. Allow yourself to break it. Okay? Make yourself understand, recognize why is it that you have this fear of failure. It is real. It is real, but why it is that you have it. The second, need for control. If you're someone who has had a lot of insecurities, instabilities in your life, you will want to have a control over the things in your life. See, there are two ways to predict your future. One is by carrying the evidences from the past and knowing that this is going to repeat in future. So if someone has betrayed you in the past, you will expect someone else to betray you in the future. Whether that person does it or not, you will feel them. Okay, you will be ready for them to betray you. So that is one thing. Second way to control your future is by creating that future. At this point, I would say we are very far away from it because we are so much fixed in our past. We are so much scared of what has happened to us that we do not see the possibility or entertain the possibility of something else coming up in the future. So this need to be in control, that is one of the things that is always there with us. And it is mostly because of the fear of uncertainty in future. My mentees usually say this, that we don't know that change, so this hell is known for us now, so we don't want to move from here. That heaven we have not seen, so we don't know what is going to come next. It's a scary space. I have never known that. I don't know if I'll be able to survive there or not. If that's the reason, you will always want to stay in your space and you will always have this nagging need to control. So allow yourself to let go a little bit of it, to enjoy the process, enjoy the uncertainties of life, rather welcome these uncertainties into your life. But yes, this could be one of the reasons why you want to be a perfectionist. Because if you are a perfectionist, you're controlling the situation. You don't feel like being controlled. No one else is controlling your actions, right? If somebody is doing a mistake, they are actually controlling you. So instead of them controlling you by the mistakes that they commit, you would love to have the control of the entire situation. And this is again a reason why we end up being a perfectionist. The third reason is validation and approval. See, there are certain experiences in our life which could lead us to be, that can make us feel like an outsider in a particular community. When that is the case, we often look to do things in a perfect manner so that other people start appreciating us or validate us or approve us. This constant need to be one of them, because once upon a time they threw us out of the community, or they said something to us, or they judged us, or they laughed at us, or they made fun of us. If you could have had certain experiences like this in your past, you would be constantly in a space to seek validation and approval. And this is again one of the reasons which can lead you to be a perfectionist. Right? Moving on to the fourth one, inner critic. How many of you actually have that? That inner critic, inner voice constantly telling you that you're not doing enough, you're not good enough, you have not done this perfectly, this is not perfect, this is not yet done, I don't feel satisfied. This inner critic, again, is a result of the experiences that you have had in past. There are many people who have narcissistic parents. There are many people who might have perfectionist parents. And these parents, adults, or people around you, I'm not saying just parents, but these people around you could end up seeking you to behave in a manner which is beneficial to them, which usually, if you were there in the webinar where we talked about narcissists, there we talked about this idea of being a trophy to someone. Yeah, narcissists usually want someone in their life they can uphold as a trophy. If you are a trophy to them, they will be nice to you and they will offer you all their support. But the minute you go against their wishes, you go against their perfectionist attitude, they will drop you or they will start criticizing you. That criticism prepares a manual within you. None of us are born as a perfectionist. None of us are born with the challenges that we have. It's over a period of time that we learn it. And suppose, since we were taking this case, if there is a person like that, this person will start being that critic to you, and you will end up imitating this critic inside your head, like that tiny voice. That tiny voice will imitate this person's criticism, judgment, and they might or might not be there in your life now. But you will start criticizing yourself in the manner that they used to do it. So if this has happened to you, it's high time that you reflect on your past and your childhood challenges and how those experiences have shaped you so far. It's very important. Yes, the next is personal identity and label. See, most of the times what happens, even with the mentees that I've seen, so they come in with certain labels that, I have ADHD, I'm a perfectionist, I have OCD, I have this, I have that. Once we begin to work on that, whatever challenges they bring, we discover that one of the symptoms from that particular, category could be there. But all in all, they are not a perfectionist or suffering from OCD or someone who has ADHD. But the biggest mistake or the biggest challenge of people out there is labeling themselves, giving yourself an identity. So here I can give you this example. Suppose there is a child. Now this child failed in a certain exam. People around him started to say that you're stupid. Yeah, you could not even clear this exam. How stupid you are. What silly mistakes you have done. Now, stupid you are, silly mistakes that you have done, this he will or she will take up as a statement spoken by the people around him or her. Now, the next time something like this happens, it will affirm, the statements will affirm that, yes, I failed again, so I must be stupid or I must be this or that. Over the next period of time, if this continues, the person will start looking for opportunities where they are fitting in this category. And once they start fitting into categories, they identify with labels. These labels, over a period of time, become your identity. And when they become your identity, it doesn't take much time for it to become your personal trait. And once that becomes, you feel this is your personal, permanent trait, and you were born with it. You make it so concrete that it becomes your reality and your truth. And then everything that happens around you happens in this manner. So even if you're not a perfectionist, even if you have not faced any of such challenges, you will identify as a person who is a perfectionist, and you'll keep doing the same things because now you have an idea that, see, this is the role I'm playing. I'm playing the role of a perfectionist. So I need to have those challenges in my life. Only then I'll be a perfectionist. So personal identity, where you label yourself, could be one of the reasons, underlying reasons, which is why you're suffering from perfectionism. The next is fear of judgment. It again comes from that fear, right? So fear of judgment, as we have discussed somehow, other people who used to judge us. So recently, I went to a school, and it was just 2 3 days back, where I interacted with a group of students. And these students, they were really bright and they were performing. So it was a psychological fest, and they were performing in their own space. A few of them walked up to me, sharing their concerns. Some of them were like, ma'am, this was my first time. Someone was like, ma'am, I overthink how to handle that. Ma'am, I face certain challenges in this area. I'm not doing it perfectly or rightly. And when I was there, so I was there as a judge, I was invited as a judge there. And the point where I was there, I could see that these children, they are somewhere afraid. I even asked them this question: did you enjoy the process? The whole thing, the presentation that you gave, the performance that you gave, did you actually enjoy it? Because the whole point of organizing that should have been enjoyment. You sharing, you expressing, you performing. And I told them, I'm not here to judge you. I'm here to learn from you. Though I am somewhere in, way ahead in this journey from you all, I'm still here to learn you. I'm not here to judge you. And these marks that I've given you, they don't matter at this point. So here, I'll stop my screen and I'll ask you all to actually raise your hands like this. Yeah? Raised? I'm hoping that you have all raised your hands because I cannot see you. Raise your hands, bend down, and give yourself a pat. Why this is important is because nobody else out there is going to come up and give you a sense of appreciation or celebrate your little victories or milestones for you. That is something which you have to do. And I'll share a milestone of a person who does this. And there are many of my mentees who do that. But this one specific person is someone's milestone you should read, because this person has been working on themselves for a very long period of time. And they have been doing so relentlessly. However relentless are the challenges, this person is equally relentless. And it's an inspiration. This person in himself is an inspiration. So I will share that feedback with you all. But the idea is, if you are someone who is scared of being judged, this is again coming from somewhere in the past, whatever experiences you have had. The idea is to go back and address them, because nobody else is going to do it for you, right? So fear of judgment is one of the reasons why many people end up being a perfectionist and causing a lot of challenges. The next is low self-worth. The minute all of these situations form a crisis of your life, where fear becomes real, judgment becomes real, validation of other people becomes real, these automatically lowers down your self-worth. You don't feel important enough. You feel like all your life you have to perform so that you can be approved by someone. You're constantly scared. You're not letting yourself make mistakes. The only people who are going to criticize you harshly are the people who have not undergone that journey. Trust me, I have undergone this journey. And whenever I see someone hiding back their celebrations, hiding back their milestones, I tell them, come up. It's okay. Don't be scared. Let yourself celebrate yourself. And this is not going to make you a narcissist, right? Someone just messaged that, celebrating all your milestones is going to make you a narcissist. No, dear, it's not. If you are a narcissist, you would already be doing that. And yes, I agree. You will end up being a perfectionist if you are a narcissist. But if you're someone who's just hiding back because you're scared, you will not suddenly turn into a narcissist. Again, this is a label that you're giving yourself. The point is that self-worth is so down that you will end up identifying with all the problems that are out there. How many of you actually do it? Whatever challenge is coming up, you consider it your challenge or your problem. Yeah, me. See? So, till here, we have somewhere discussed the challenges. Now, I'll share one feedback with you. This is a girl. She is someone who's from here, but she works in a foreign country. She works in Germany, right? So this person again had a lot of, almost all the challenges that we discussed so far. This person almost was going through many of them. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, validation and approval, seeking their validation and approval, not having that high self-esteem or self-worth. And this was one of the reasons that they were not going ahead with a promotion. There was a particular exam that they had to give, and they were really scared to give this exam. This was because the person realized that, see, if I get a new work, right? If I get promotion, I would somewhere have to give in that much of effort. Right now, I'm not perfect in my space. I'm not perfect to be that boss. So how is it that I'll go and be a perfectionist there? And that is when we began to unravel the point that, see, everybody becomes, whenever a person undergoes, takes in a new job, takes a new challenge, a new project, they go ahead and uh, it is done for the first time. Right? Even a child, when the child goes into a class, that child goes for the first time. That he or she is definitely going to make a lot of mistakes. Okay? But if because of those mistakes they just give up in the middle, do you think it's worth it? Giving up is worth it? No, right? It's not right for a child. Then why for us? Why don't we give ourselves that safe space to commit mistakes, as many mistakes as possible? We should be uh, confident enough, confident enough in our own skins to commit the mistakes and do better next time. Yes, that's it. But now, if you see, after working for 3 to 4 months, this person came back saying that, she was not comfortable, she felt low, and so many things. But now she's really enjoying going to the office, irrespective of the struggles of the long commute and responsibilities. She also had to train a girl, and now this time she did it quite well, right? She's taking up unplanned tasks. You recall the uncertain things. She does not need to be in control. She knows that she can navigate her life well now. And the point where even after coming back, she is not tired. So here I'll give you this example from Jean Piaget's cognitive development theory. Okay, so he's a very known psychologist, and he has worked on children, and he gives a lot of other ideas. So one of them is cognitive development. There he says how children, once they learn something, they begin to conserve their energy. So I'll give this example. Suppose a child learns 1 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 9 till 9. The minute the child has to learn about 10, 11, 12, what they will do is they will put in. Now, here is where they will not have to recall again the numbers, the shape of the numbers or so. But here they can simply pick up from their prior knowledge 1 and 0 and make a new number 10. And next, 11, 12, 13. So here the seriation part will work. Okay. So what these children are doing, they are conserving energy. Initially, they learned something. Now they are using association to form a different result. Now, allow me to use this analogy and explain you what we end up doing in our lives. So suppose I learn one thing, that people betray me. I learn this, okay, or people hurt me, or people lie to me, or people are not honest with me. The minute I learn this, what will happen the next time any situation comes up? Okay, any situation comes up, whether the thing is of that nature or not, whether that person is going to betray us or not, whether that person is betraying us or not, any hint of action that feels plausible, okay, will give us this idea that I am being betrayed here, or my trust is being broken. And the minute that happens, why that happens is, right now you are not in your conscious state of reasoning. You have flipped back to the state of that unconscious space where you know something is not right. Yeah, something is not working. And that is the minute where your past experiences feed your current moments. So you are not thinking anymore. Your energy is conserved, completely conserved, and it is used up in plotting narratives for yourself to torture yourself. Right? And this is the reason why most of the people feel emotionally exhausted, or energy wise exhausted or low at the end of the days. because instead of doing something productive, all of their energy goes into plotting or saving themselves, right? So you can see she mentions that after that, she's not tired because all of her energy is going in productive areas of her life. She's not constantly thinking of what happened in the past, what are the challenges with her, what are, where people are betraying her. None of that. She knows she can navigate now. And she's loving life. I love the last statement. She's loving life. So this is what you need to aim at. And if you're someone who's facing that challenge of constantly staying in low energy, this could be one of the reasons. Your mind is engaged subconsciously into protecting yourself. Free this so that you can engage your energy in more productive activities, right? So moving ahead. At this point, we are going to look out for some of the things which we should practice. Okay, let's see what are those some of the things. The very first is divergent thinking. So here I'll stop the screen for a few minutes and I'll explain it in this manner. Suppose you're someone who, again, we'll take the example of a trauma or a survival state. Once you have formed the manual of it, what will you do is your mind will think in a closed manner. You see those horses are there, whom, on their eyes, certain barriers are put so that they cannot look on the sideways and they have to look just in the front. So once you undergo a challenge or a crisis or an experience that is not resourceful for you, your mind starts to work in a convergent manner. One point, looking at that one point, you'll start working. Why is that? Because again, your body or your mind is conserving energy. It is very hard to break free and look at the possibilities around you. How many of you practice positive thinking? Yes. I'll, burst one of your bubbles here. Positive thinking in today's world is being used as a defense mechanism, something which we call as pseudo positivity. If any one of you have had the experience of working with the mirror exercise, you will recall this and you might relate with this. You go in front of the mirror and you say that I'm beautiful or I'm good enough. People love me. The next minute, there will come a voice where? Where do people love you? Where are you beautiful? And that is the point where your subconscious, that inner voice, inner critic, raises its head. This is where you need to work on again the past experiences, past evidences where you've been betrayed, where you've been challenged, so that you do not mix your past with your present to create a future that feels like a past. Your future, let it be a possibility. So instead of positive thinking, what you can do is you can practice possibility thinking. And this possibility thinking is what we are terming as divergent thinking. Yeah, this is what is called as divergent thinking. The next is to have a little bit flexibility in your approach. There was one of the person in the initial point, they wrote, when we asked, what is your reason to be here? The person wrote that, it takes a lot of effort and it's very annoying when people around you are not working, when people around you are not working in a particular manner. It annoys us a lot. See, if you're someone who identifies as a perfectionist, you will end up expecting the other people around you to be a perfectionist as well. Now, I agree. There are moments when people do not perform things rightly and they are very careless. However, allow space for failure. Because if you don't do that, you will end up being a dictator for them, which results in a lot of relationship challenges, be it professional, be it personal. Your relationships will get impacted. And not just with the people around you, but with yourself as well. You will never allow yourself to make mistakes. And if you do, you will end up punishing yourself. So, look out for a space where you can be flexible in your approach. This is really important. Moving forward, resistance to giving up prematurely. And this is my favorite. Consider that you are this person. Okay, you are somewhere at this position and you want to be here. Okay, so right now you are here and there is this gap between the two things. From this point to working on this point, you would have to cross this. Yeah, without whether you cross it zigzag, whether you take a straight line, whether you go up and down, you will have to cross this space. Okay, now I'll help you visualize this in this manner, that you can imagine that there are two shores. Okay, and there is water in between. So the minute you decide to come to this shore, you will take a jump in this water and you will swim across. The point where you'll be in the middle of the sea, it will be very scary. That is your panic point, where you have left your shore and you're moving towards something that you don't know how it is going to be and what are the challenges. This hell, you know. This heaven, you don't know. So this middle space becomes a panic spot. When you are in this panic spot, you have two choices. Either you go back from where you came, or you keep on moving forward with the courage, with the faith that you will be better when you reach here and you'll be able to navigate your life better. Because you've already undergone a lot of changes while you were in the water. Many people end up giving up prematurely. They have not even reached the shore, they have not even seen the results, and they give up. But there are a few people who cross over. And if you want your crossing to be 100%, you want to make sure that, fine, whatever it is, however it is, I want to reach that shore. It is suggested that you take a mentor. Because trust me, there is no shame in having a mentor. Okay? Because many people fear that. They think, why we should waste our time, energy there, or why waste our money there. But it's once you undergo the experience, you realize the significance of something like this. So if you are someone who's facing through the challenges, do not be afraid to go ahead and having a mentor who can allow you, guide you through this entire journey of yours to the next shore. And I will, as I said before, I'm going to share a very beautiful feedback with you all. It's not a feedback, it's a milestone sharing. And I will share that with you. We are we have this culture of sharing victors' victories. Right? So resistance, develop a resistance to giving up. Let me see what will happen. I'll not stop here. This is one quality that you can look out for. The next is, earlier in the first phase, we discussed the labels. In this phase, the idea is don't resist change. Allow yourself to break free from your challenges, those labels. Okay? Move beyond the concrete labels, because these labels are like those bars. So, give me Yes, this one, high expectation. So if you can see this man is in a cage and there are four walls, right? Four walls or four ways. Two bars are there which he's holding on to, and he feels like, see, I'm trapped. See, I have had, life is unfair to me. See, I've undergone so many challenges, so many traumas. See, I'm this, I'm that. This is my label. He's not looking at the possibility around him. He's just sticking with the one, closed up bars. Around him, there is empty space. If he wants, he can walk away from there. That's his possibility in that open cage. But he has that convergent thinking. He's not looking at things from the possibility of convergence. Divergence. That there are divergent possibilities, variety of possibilities out there. So the point is, allow yourself to give up resistance, and let's move beyond these concrete labels that we are carrying, that I have this, I have that, I have this, and that. You're not a perfectionist. You have some qualities of being a perfectionist. That doesn't make you a perfectionist. You can always let that go. Use this possibility. The next is recognition and acceptance of the flaws. Allow yourself to fail. Allow yourself to recognize that you're not perfect at the first minute. Maybe you'll master this technique after a while. Like there are so many quotes out there. I'm forgetting the name of this person, but he said that the point is not to practice 10,000 different techniques. The point is to practice one technique 10,000 times. And that is what is going to make you stronger. That is what will turn you into a better, perfect version of yourself. Not learning all the things around you. Right? So recognize and accept the flaws which could be there with you. If you keep avoiding that, if you keep denying that, it's not going to work. Right? The next is celebrate 1 degree shift. Please let yourself celebrate that 1 degree shift. If you're not celebrating that 1 degree shift, you will end up with nothing. It is the changes that you celebrate, recognize over a period of time, accumulates, and then suddenly you see a boom, a change in your life. It doesn't happen suddenly. It happens over a period of time as a process. So allow yourself to celebrate that 1 degree shift. And that's the next one also. Celebrate your milestones and embrace change. Most of the people, just like that person, earlier, she did not want to see that possibility or go over that possibility because hell is better than that unknown heaven, no? No. Embrace change. Celebrate your milestones because that is what will lead you to the next level. Okay? And this is where I want to share this beautiful feedback. Again, I'm sorry, milestone. So if you can see, the person deleted the message twice and you can see the need, right? The person, maybe the first message was not perfect, so they wrote the second message, they missed out some of the things, they wrote the third message and they deleted the 2 of them. Okay, you can see that need also. However, if you see, this person created magic during the past 2 weeks. And this is really a beautiful milestone. And I really want to celebrate this person today. Why? Because this person joined us in December. Over a long period of time, we have been sharing many feedbacks with you, okay, all anonymously, where we are showing you the transformation that people undergo in 2 months, maybe 1 month, maybe in 1 or 2 sessions, and their experiences. This person is someone who has been relentlessly, as relentless are the challenges of this person. This person is relentlessly working with on himself since January, and that's a long period of time, right? And why I'm sharing this is because this person did not give up prematurely. This person stayed in the game to keep working on himself, despite the fact that sometimes the person did not see any changes. For a very long period of time, this person did not see any changes. But now this person is recognizing and celebrating those tiny changes. I would say the first time that we somewhere asked this person to celebrate, from that point on, this person is coming up with the changes that are there in his life. So you can read on. This person started to take care of his body. This person started to take care of his food. This person started to be productive in office. And this person started to focus on the priorities of life instead of wasting his energy on some of the things like a phone, chats. And these are small habits, small initiatives taken by this person to bring about bigger changes in life. And this is one of the most inspiring sharings, I would say, that I'm sharing with you all today. And I would like to share more from this person, and I'm really waiting and looking forward to more of their transformation. And see, next you'll see that the person started to make powerful proposals in his team, at his office. The person also got connected with a team in Denmark, which is again a huge thing because the person has started to take initiatives in new projects. And trust me, this person was undergoing a lot of challenges of his own. He did not reach this point by giving up. He did not reach this point by considering that he is under a label. No, this person worked on himself. This person stayed in the game as long as was needed, and the person is still work in progress. But the point is still work in progress. This person is taking massive actions. So I would say let's celebrate this person. Yeah. Moving forward. Now, many of the people end up asking, how to do it or what to do it. This is where I'll say the first thing that you all need to understand is to undergo awareness. You can take the example of this webinar as something where you're undergoing the state of awareness, understanding what it is that you need to do. Okay, or what are the priority areas of your life that you need to focus on. So this is where you are getting aware. In your own personal lives, what you can do is you can start with journaling. But I'll tell you the reason. I'll not say just go ahead and journal your thoughts, vomit out your thoughts. No. There is a next step to journaling as well, which we'll discuss in the next slide. But till here, first is journal your thoughts and actions. Second is observe. Third is if you can get a person who is analytical and who will give you analytical insights of what you're talking about, get this person, not friends or family who will, sympathize with you and say everything is going to be all right. No, not these people. Find someone who can give you a very critical analysis of what you could be going through and what it is that you seriously need to work on. The next is if you have already tried these things, go ahead and take professional help. Because right now, again, I keep saying this, money is a commodity that you can gain again in life. If you have done it once, you can do it twice. Energy is something, again, you can cherish and you can recreate. But time is a commodity you can never have back once it's spent or gone. So choose whether you want to invest this time or you want to spend this time. Which one do you want to choose? So do not shy away from taking professional help if you have to. Because once you do that, you will have tremendous changes in your life. And here itself, let me put this. There are people, as I said, I recently went to a school and there was this one child who asked me, um, ma'am, how should we choose a mentor or someone? So there are two things that you need to take care of. First, that this person, this teacher, this mentor, whoever he or she is, they have undergone your journey. Okay, they have had a similar journey like yours. They have faced similar challenges like yours, and they have failed at it 1,000 times. Because then they will know what else needs to be done in your case and how else to help you if one thing doesn't work. Okay. And the second is, let yourself see if this mentor also has a mentor. Because a good mentor, a good leader is also a good follower. And learning never stops. You will always have a space to learn new things. So don't stop. Coming back to the topic, the first is awareness. The next step that you need to look for is process. Not the process, the activity, but allow yourself to process your thoughts, analyze your thoughts. Find the pattern in the journal thoughts. So, one of the ways you can do it, if you're journaling, if you're picking to journal, the point is that you journal for a whole month. But after that month ends, you pick up your diary once again and you read through what you have written. You note down what are the similar patterns which are occurring, what are the similar challenges that you're going through, how are your mood swings, in how many days it is coming back. Again, if there is any other pattern that you can note to help yourself process. Because once you understand or identify your pattern, you will somewhere know by going back into your childhood what what it resembles. And if it resembles something, you need to come back to perform the next step, that is change those root habits or change those atomic habits, not in your daily life, but the reasons which are there rooted in the past. Once you begin to change that, you will see the changes reflecting in your present. So be aware. The next thing is to process and then change. There are many people who come up and they end up saying that, we have taken certain classes, like we have taken diploma in psychology. We have done this course, we have done that course just to understand us. What they miss is they allow intellectual knowledge to be with them, but they do not practice it. They do not use it in practical sense. They will get an idea of what they are suffering through. Diagnosis is done. But how to change that? This is where they are stuck. This is where the learnings do not help them. And this is where we require that outside push. So, if you're someone like that, allow yourself to undergo the process. Allow yourself to have someone who can guide you in that journey of transformation. Because there are two things: 1 degree shift, celebration of that, recognizing that is going to be that one foundation of transformation for you. And the next is you implementing something is going to be the next thing. So today, watch the entire thing. You'll maybe you'll be given the recordings if you come into the category. You go ahead and watch this. You go ahead and promise yourself to do 2 actions, implement 2 things that you learned today. And if you implement that and you find results, go ahead and post it in the group, the WhatsApp group, where we all can celebrate your victories. Because the next thing what we all require is a tribe. Right? Somewhere we can be celebrated by the other people after we have celebrated ourselves. So your first task is to acknowledge and somewhere celebrate it out there with people so that they can also celebrate you. Okay? So don't stop. Promise yourself that you will implement 2 things from whatever you have learned today. Otherwise, this workshop, this webinar is of no use. until you take massive imperfect actions. So promise that you will take massive imperfect actions and implement two things in your life today to bring about that slight change, which can accumulate over a period of time to be a bigger change. Okay? Now, this is where we somewhere stop, and I will ask you to ask some of your questions. Okay? You can drop it in the chat box so that we can help everyone with the questions that they might be having. In the meanwhile, I have a list of 10 questions that one of you took the effort of putting it down while you were filling on the Google form, and it's possible that some of your questions might be addressed in that. So you can go ahead and message some of your own personal doubts and questions while I address these questions here. Okay, so the one question is, can you explain some common symptoms or signs that may indicate someone is experiencing perfectionist syndrome? The person has used the frame perfectionist syndrome quite a lot, but here itself I would like to address this, that perfectionism is not a challenge or a psychological condition. It did not begin as a psychological condition. It began with an experience which can lead to a psychological condition that we commonly known as OCD. That's the extreme case. Okay. Don't let yourself go till that. If you can, take U-turns in the middle and start working on yourself. Don't let it be a syndrome. Again, it's a label that you will stick with. Don't let yourself be there. The second question is, what are some potential causes or factors that contribute to the development of perfectionist challenge? The person has used syndrome. Let me use challenge. Now, the factors or that contribute, we have somewhere discussed. It is not just that you have high expectations of yourself. That is a superficial reason. There could be other superficial reasons with you as well. What you need to do is, look under the challenges. Look what could be under beneath it. Okay, so go ahead and do that. The next is, how does perfectionist syndrome impact mental health and overall well-being? To this question, I will say tremendously. And why is that? Because at some times in your professional or personal life, it's going to go affect both the cases. Okay. Once you start expecting things from yourself, you will have a very chaotic relationship with yourself and the people around you. And this is something which we have discussed, right? And once it leads to challenges like OCD or something else, it will become really tough on you, which you do not want. So if you are somewhere in this space and you're moving towards being more and more of this particular label and identifying as a perfectionist, allow yourself to work before it turns into a grave problem or a challenge. Okay. The fourth question is, are there any effective strategies or techniques to help individuals overcome or manage perfectionist tendencies? I guess we covered that. Be aware. The next is to process what has happened with you. The third is to allow yourself to begin to change those little tiny habits, micro habits or atomic habits. If you want, you can go ahead and read the book Atomic Habits once again. And if you have not read it, then definitely go and do that. Okay, so these are the strategies. You have to implement them, not that knowledge is not going to alone help you. You would have to implement it somewhere. So implement those techniques or challenges. And as you promised, you're going to implement two things from today's topic. Okay, and maybe you can come back and share your wins. The fifth question is, can perfectionist syndrome have any positive aspects or benefits, or is it mostly detrimental? You remember that statement? I am whole, complete, and perfect. That perfect or being perfect is different than being a perfectionist. Perfectionist is detrimental from all angles. It is not a good quality at all. So if you're someone who's having that, please change that. Work on this. The sixth question is almost similar, where the person asks, are there any specific professions or fields of work that tend to attract individuals with perfectionist tendencies? All of you who are here, I will ask you, you're from different fields of work. I will ask you to drop in whether, if you're someone who identifies as a perfectionist, to drop in whether being a perfectionist has ever helped you. Drop. I don't think it would have. Because to be very honest, and I'm really sorry for being outright and not sugarcoating it, working with a perfectionist in a team is a headache for that team. Because the perfectionist becomes a huge obstacle in going or moving forward. If you're a boss, then it's a disaster. So there are no positive benefits of being a perfectionist. It's a consequence of an experience that you have had. So please allow yourself to break free from this space. Okay? How does perfectionist syndrome affect relationships, both professional and personal? I guess we have also discussed this so far. It affects tremendously. You might end up being hyper vigilant in cases. You might end up expecting people to be perfect around you, and that does not sits well when relationship is all about flexibilities, be it professional, personal, or your own personal relationship with yourself. So please allow yourself to work on that. The next question is there a genetic or familial component to perfectionist syndrome, or is it primarily shaped by environmental factors? See, what happens is, this is something which Aristotle has said, that we all human beings imitate and learn. Okay? And we have seen it in our cases as well. If there is a mother, if she changes her habit, the changes are seen in the child as well. And we feel it's magic, but it's not magic. What happens is, once we begin to change our habits, our children start to notice these changes and they start imitating us in the similar manner. Okay? So if a person has not worked on themselves, if they are in a higher position, if they are parents, if they are bosses, if they are leaders, their followers, their children, their juniors will end up imitating them. It has nothing to do with genetics. You will simply end up imitating a behavior or an experience of them. This is where idea of intergenerational trauma also comes in. So there is no genetic or familial component other than what you pick up from your environment. However, it is not entirely environmental. Okay, it's mostly how your familial environment affects you. I can say that. It can impact you two ways. Okay, it can make you into a person who's very careless and reckless. And second, it can make you a better perfectionist than your parents. So this is how it ends up being a pattern, a familial pattern, you can say, rather than genetics or a physiological condition. The next question is, are there any misconceptions or myths associated with perfectionist syndrome that you would like to debunk? I guess we have done most of them already. Yeah. The 10th question is, what advice would you give to someone who is struggling with perfectionist tendencies and want to find a healthier balance in their life? We somewhere talked about it. Process aware, process and change. And if you've already tried all these things, my genuine advice to you would be to go ahead and work with a professional. Because again, these challenges, they end up accumulating into something very serious after a period of time, which you don't even realize. And you end up feeling tortured and traumatized in your own personal headspace or inner universe. And you end up feeling, see, I put so much of effort into things, no, nothing works for me. Nothing will work for you. You will have to somewhere look at the possibilities of change. What else you can do now? This has happened. You've already been traumatized. What else you can do? What else is the next step that you can take? Right? So these are some of the questions that we discussed so far. Right? If you have any personal questions apart from these, you can ask me. Okay. Okay. We have one question from Chitra. She asks, how to work on that inner critic. See, this inner critic is not there with you suddenly or from your birth. This inner critic developed over a period of time. And to be very honest, you can go ahead and journal the thoughts. You can go ahead and see what is the pattern of it. With whom can you identify this inner voice resembling? This inner critic will have a resemblance to someone in your life. Okay, it could be your father, mother, it could be an elder person, it could be a teacher, it could be anyone. So you need to understand who this inner critic sounds like, because it's not you. Once the other people did it to you, now you're doing it to yourself. So identify who is this critic that it resembles, that you have imitated and you have kept it in your head. Because once you go to the roots of it, that is where you can work on it. Okay, so let yourself trace it back to your previous judges of your life who made you feel not good enough, who made you feel that you need to do better in life. You have to work on that. Okay, so I hope I addressed that question somewhere, Chitra. Yes? Okay. If you have any other questions, you can message it in the group and we will be more than happy to answer your questions. Today, the promise that I hope you are going to do that. Don't just sit here and get intellectual information. Allow yourself to use this information, because knowledge is power, but knowledge is only half power until you put it into practice. So put it into practice. Take two things away from this and use it in your life. Implement it in your life so that you can feel changes coming up. All right. Okay. So here we will wrap up the session, and thank you so much for all your patience. Have a wonderful week ahead.